This is the new Thermal Equipment Sales Company Heat Trace 4-loop control system. Touchscreen. This is our main screen. Views up to 4 different control loops. Nothing's changeable on this initial screen, but by pushing any one of the buttons, any one of the zones, you go to set point details. Here we have zone 1 set point. We enter our set point, and we can change our set point. Remember that during this entire process, you need to enter the decimal point as well on any set point setup. So in this case, it would be 100 degrees would be 100.0. You can leave in or out the 0. It'll automatically put it there regardless. Also on this screen, we'll notice we have, and this is universal on the main screen as well, a C light, which stands for heat out. H, which is high alarm, and low, as you see it's blinking now, is our low temperature alarm. We have 3 buttons across here: Zone 1 settings, sharp temperature, and configure. Zone 1 settings take us to our set point deadband. Just a little hysteresis to allow us to keep from chattering our relay. Usually you'd set that to 3 to 5 degrees for a heat capable application. That's part of the default settings. There's a deviation high and low and high settings. Those are preset at the factory, also at 10 degrees. There's also a configure alarms push button. If you go to configure alarms, you'll see that there's alarm hysteresis. Again, these are preset at the factory, but you can change them if you need to. Also, if you want to change from deviation alarm to an absolute alarm, by pushing and changing this button, we've changed now to absolute. We hit back button, and we show here that now it shows an absolute alarm. Now we would need to set these alarms at something closer. Let's say it's our design temperatures 100. We might set in 120. Well, that was our low. That should have been set for, let's say, 80, and our high temperature may be at 120. And now we have changed it to absolute instead. If you change these back and forth playing with them, make sure you change both. Because if we go back to alarm type and change this to deviation, we'll see it's changed here to deviation, but these are still showing those other set points, which we need to change back. To 10 degrees, or whatever customer would like. If we hit the back button again, there's 2 other buttons here. The next button would be the chart temperature. Charting temperature charts all 4 of those temperatures. For heat tracing, we have it set for 0 to 200 degrees. That's only gives you 30 pulses per hour, but it will give you an idea of what's going on. We have provisions as an adder that we can data log this, and you can back it up to a computer, but on this particular unit it's not in. Go back again, and we see once again a configure light button. We hold that configure button. Note that all the buttons have to be held for a period of time to keep inadvertent pushing of the buttons when in operation. Now here we can turn off any one zone we want to. If we decide to turn off zone 1, or let's just say zone 4, we can turn off zone 4 there. If we hit back, we see that now zone 4 is grayed out and it shows off there. We don't get any temperature control. We don't get alarms. We can't change set point and do all our settings. We just can't initialize any outputs. This is not a safety off. This still has solid state relay, which solid state relays can be can provide a small voltage regardless. Let's go back to that zone, turn it back on. Now, one of the ways we could have turned that zone back on is reset default settings. Now that turns everything back to the original factory settings except for set points. But let's just do that in this case. This is a long time. You got to hold this for 10 seconds. And when it does, it will turn all of our alarms back on. Go back to the main. There we are. And we see that we're getting alarm outputs once again. These buttons are actually on the outputs, so we know that we're getting outputs. That pretty much sums up the new thermal equipment sales. Touchscreen 4-loop temperature controller for heat trace systems. Thank you.